In today's video, we'll be counting down the top 10 cities in the state of Arizona. Keep in mind, these are my opinions, and they're always going to come from a more urbanist, younger person's perspective. But as Arizona is definitely not known for its urban vitality in general, I think this is the ultimate list of the best 10 cities in Arizona. Starting off with number 10, I've lambasted this city enough, and it's not all bad, just mostly confusing. It's Sedona, Arizona. Population 9,000. Although the city has a ton of wasted potential, there's a lot of great things to like about Sedona. The city's picturesque backdrop is probably one of the most unique in the US, with its bright orange and red rocks protruding from the ground, nearly visible from anywhere within the city limits. And not only are they pretty, they offer many living and visiting the town a plethora of outdoor activities, such as hiking, biking, and even pink Jeep touring? Yep, that's definitely unique. The city is fairly walkable, but you might have to dodge the never-ending construction downtown, and I'm not really sure what they've been doing there since I visited in 2019, and then again in 2024, but nothing had changed. There was still just this abandoned construction project going on right in the middle of the main drag. Maybe it's in order to make the city more walkable? I don't know. I mean, the downtown is fairly walkable as it is, but the quality of the stores and businesses is where Sedona gets a little overrated for me. Every single store is pretty much a gimmick of some kind. The buildings are dated with that 1980s stucco construction that was only ever meant to last like a decade or so. I've said this before, if this place was built and preserved with the care of Durango or Telluride, Colorado, it'd make the city so much more pleasant to walk around. But in terms of the best cities in Arizona, look, it's got a lot of good things going on. It's no secret that Sedona's placement on this list is heavily bolstered by the sheer amount of gorgeous hiking trails and parks, and the scenery. If you visit, be sure to check out the Sedona Heritage Museum, as it's the only museum in the city and is actually quite informative and even interactive. Just kind of wish there was more of that here. But I also wish Sedona expanded a bit and could redevelop in a sustainable way. Anyway, Sedona's at number 10. Let's move on to number 9, and that would be Cottonwood, population 12,440. Cottonwood, like Sedona, is located in the heart of Arizona. They're actually only about 20 miles apart, but in my opinion, Cottonwood is doing a lot of things better than its nearby Rocky counterpart. Of course, it's not all fantastic. It's only number 9 on this list. Vacancies in the Old Town Cottonwood main drag are higher than you'd want or expect. This is where City Hall and the City Council's office are, and really is where the city comes alive and shows its brightest colors. While there are a few vacancies, the businesses situated within the stunning 20th century buildings are great. And from what I can gather, the city is rebranding and leaning into a new moniker as being the heart of Arizona's wine country, and has many plans to hone in on that and really redevelop that Old Town Cottonwood district, much like what's been going on over in Temecula, California, and its new renaissance as being the heart of Southern California's wine country. I'm starting to think there's something to this whole Wild West nostalgia that many of these historic places are leaning into. Is it being overdone? Not yet. It's still tasteful in all the places I've been. And if these places really lean into adaptive reuse, I think they can make it a real gold mine. Not just for the city, but for its residents and visitors. But wine isn't Cottonwood's only draw. They've got an exceptional dining scene as well. And there's a plethora of boutiques, art galleries, and artisan goods stores, all of which accentuate the community feel of the city, especially in this main area. I'd really like to see more density pop up around the city limits, and there's certainly no lack of space. The city, along with neighboring Clarksdale, Arizona, have a lot to offer in terms of outdoor recreation as well, with Peck's Lake and the many trails over there. And the city really is situated in a beautiful area. The high desert atmosphere of the American West just really makes you feel good. This is a city earmarked for growth, and if it wants it, it can have it. But for right now, it sits comfortably at number 9 on this list. Phoenix is number 8 on this list, and I have a whole video about why the city is kind of underwhelming, on a nationwide scale at least. But hey, here it is on Arizona's top 10 list, at number 8. Trust me, Arizona has some really great small towns, so stay to the end to see those. I feel like the state's capital, largest city, and transportation hub should always be ranked in the top 5, especially for a state of its size. Arizona is the 14th largest state in the union, and I feel like this ranking is somewhat telling for Phoenix. There are 7 cities more interesting and just overall better than Phoenix in the state of Arizona. That's not something that's going to happen in my Florida top 10 or my Georgia top 10 ranking. Miami and Atlanta will always be in the top 5 of those states. That's pretty much guaranteed. Okay, enough ribbing on Phoenix, time to talk about why it's actually on this list, instead of being left out entirely. The city's outdoor recreational attractions definitely have their moments. Camelback Mountain and the Echo Canyon Trail and Recreation Area are great examples of just how close you are to the outdoors, even being in the center of downtown Phoenix. Camelback Mountain is this rocky, jagged hill that sort of stands out within the greater Phoenix skyline, and there's definitely a lot to take advantage of there, as well as the Desert Botanical Garden with over 50,000 plant species spread over 140 acres. It also adds to Phoenix's outdoor allure. Living downtown, you've got access to light rail, which I'll admit leaves a lot to be desired, but at least it exists. Bare minimum points, I guess. As far as sports, this is Arizona's sports capital, as well as its actual capital, as the Diamondbacks of the MLB, the Cardinals of the NFL, and the Suns of the NBA play here. But you'll have to head 15 minutes east to Tempe to catch Major League Hockey, where the Arizona Coyotes play at Mullet Arena, Arizona State University's hockey arena. Yes, you heard that right, an NHL team's home stadium is a college arena. Lots to talk about there, but this is not the time nor place. Overall, the city is much more slow-paced than its western counterparts like San Diego, LA, San Francisco, and Seattle. If investments are made to further build up downtown and the adjacent areas and neighborhoods, Phoenix could very well move up on this list. But for right now, it sits at number 8. It's just pretty okay. Staying in the Phoenix metro area though, the 7th best city in Arizona is Tempe. I've mentioned Tempe in passing many times, even just about 30 seconds ago, especially when talking about rapid urbanization of what is in effect a suburban college town. Tempe is growing into its own as a center of business and commerce in Arizona, and this is very much evident near the college area and city center. Impressively, for a city of its small stature, it has its own light rail network. And while it doesn't even remotely reach into the more suburban areas of the city, downtown Tempe is full of light rail. Full of dense multifamily development, empty retail spaces below said dense housing, just waiting for somebody to move into those, and evidently, the main street, Mill Street, is full of active life, with a great shopping and dining scene, but a very noteworthy bar and club scene that appeals to the younger crowd that makes up that area of the city. Overall, the newly developing and even the pre-existing areas of the city are pretty great places to be and make for a great visit, but also contribute to a convenient urban way of life. Naturally, living in this area is highly desirable, and the prices of the apartments and homes certainly reflect that. I really do wish these kinds of places and this form of development pattern were more common and abundant and less expensive. I'm sure if you're watching this channel, you've at least heard about the Cul-de-sac Tempe project. It's an alternate living housing project billed as America's first fully car-free town or neighborhood or whatever it wants to call itself. Which, if you've been to New York City, you can smell the marketing BS from miles away. But I mean, I'll go ahead and mark that down as a net positive for not only the city, but for urban living in general. It's nice to see, but I have a feeling this place is going to price out most who'd want to live there and who take advantage of the amenities. And it's not like they're making 5 or 10 of these communities dotted around various pre-existing light rail stops within the city. Now, that would be something. But overall, Tempe is a fine city, trending up, so it sits at number 7 on this list. And before I forget to mention it, the parks and trails along the Salt River on the north side of the town add to the city's overall appeal as well. They just provide for a nice serene gathering place with some waterway views in what is essentially the middle of the Arizona desert. Coming in at number 6 is the city of Mesa, population 509,000 people. This is a city bigger than I actually thought it was. Walking within downtown, the city doesn't scream 500,000 people live here, but I think that's changing. And Mesa, especially the downtown, is going to look a lot different than it does right now in the coming years. The city is urbanizing and attracting businesses to that downtown core. One of the best ways it's doing this is through light rail, of course. Mesa has made some serious strides in its public transportation game, especially its impressive light rail system. The Valley Metro Light Rail connects Mesa to Phoenix and Tempe, making it a breeze for residents to commute and explore neighboring cities without the hassle of traffic. This has not only improved accessibility, but also helped in creating a more connected metro area. Another thing that makes Mesa kind of stand out is its up-and-coming and sort of thriving local business scene. The city has been fostering a supportive environment, resulting in a plethora of unique boutiques, cafes, and restaurants. From cozy coffee shops to trendy boutiques, Mesa's local businesses add a distinct charm to the urban landscape. Mesa doesn't disappoint when it comes to live entertainment either. The city boasts a fantastic music venue, the Nile Theater, which is quite historic and is a great host for smaller bands. In a similar vein, Mesa has some entertaining and informative museums as well, such as the Arizona Museum of Natural History and the Mesa Contemporary Arts Museum. The city is full of hidden gems too, though, like speakeasies and hidden parks. There's a lot to explore here. Definitely more than meets the eye. Overall, Mesa has managed to strike a solid balance between urban atmosphere and a laid-back community-centric vibe. So it sits at number 6 on this list. Our number 5 city is without a doubt the most unique city on this top 10 list, and it's Jerome, Arizona. Population just 464. Yep, you heard that right. At its height, it actually had some around 10,000 people, which is mind-blowing for many reasons, not the least of which is because it's built on the side of a mountain, and the drive up there can be, well, treacherous. The town was built around the United Verde mine, once one of the largest copper mines in the US. Throughout its lifetime, the mine produced over 2 billion pounds of copper, silver, and gold until it was closed in 1953, and the population dwindled to fewer than 100 people. Efforts to save the town from oblivion succeeded when residents turned to tourism and retail sales. Jerome became a National Historic Landmark in 1967. By the early 21st century, it had art galleries, coffee houses, restaurants, and a state park, and a local museum devoted to its mining history. I can't speak to what it's like to live in a town like this in the present day, but I can speak to what it's like visiting, and man, is it a trip. I can't say I've necessarily ever been a fan of these self-proclaimed ghost towns, like actual dead cities turned into tourist traps, like Calico, California. But Jerome is more like a living ghost town, one resurrected and brought back from the dead. Certainly not to its 1920s glory days, but you can't say the city isn't thriving today, in its own way. It's got real, exciting Wild West history and attractions to boot. Stepping into this town immediately transports you to the past, when the US was a young, lively, lawless country. Well, at least when Arizona was. The Victorian-era hotels and storefronts dot the main street, showcasing the incredible power of adaptive reuse, and the views from just about anywhere in town are spectacular. There's a shocking amount of thriving local businesses offering anything from handcrafted leather goods to artisan olive oil to cozy coffee shops, and even galleries filled with local art. The dining and wine scene here is up to par with the best of the rest of high desert Arizona, and I really love the town's commitment to conservation of its past and its ability to display it through museums, historical societies, and just general preservation. Admittedly, I wouldn't change much about Jerome. It's just a unique city with a unique story in a unique place with unique things to do and see. What more could you ask for a town of its size and stature? The 4th best city in Arizona is Bisbee, and I couldn't not rank these two back to back because they're pretty much tied. Bisbee was a mining town in its heyday, being built around the nearby Mule Mountains, providing tons of copper, silver, and gold. In 1910, its population swelled to a then high of just over 9,000 residents. However, throughout the early 1900s, mining worker strikes, coupled with the local political infighting, led to less and less mining overall, and by 1950, the population was cut to just about 3,500. Looking for options to save the rapidly declining city, Bisbee looked to alternate forms of income, and eventually the city reached an agreement with the federal government to provide funding for a mine tour project and other improvements in downtown Bisbee, designed to meet tourist business needs. The Queen Mine Tour was officially opened to visitors on February 1st, 1976, and more than 1 million visitors have taken the underground mine tour train and can still be toured today. And in the 1960s, the city jolted back up to almost 10,000 residents, but ultimately, slowly, has dwindled down to its current estimated population of just around 5,000 residents. Much larger than its historic mining sister or brother, Jerome. Bisbee is such a great small town that's unfortunately so hard to get to. It's about 50 miles south of Interstate 10, making it an hour-long one-way detour. But if you ever get the chance, definitely be sure to visit. Walking down Main Street, you'll instantly get a hit of just how European the city's layout is. I'll try to show a Google Maps comparison between a European city and Bisbee, and I mean, it's really interesting. Imagine if this place was expanded back in the early 1900s for the purpose other than being a mining town. It would have been so cool, and would have given this part of the country some much needed density, like El Paso or San Diego, two other border cities that were founded on a bit more economic diversity. Anyway, getting back on track, there's a ton to do in Bisbee. From visiting the excellent Bisbee Mining and Historical Museum to taking advantage of one of the many unique local artisan small businesses. There's a few great bars, coffee shops, and the dining scene is quite great for such a small city, with plenty of unique and highly rated options. The town also has kept their 3 20th century mining pits as a local tourist attraction as well, where you can learn a bit more about the process of mining while gawking at the vast pits made to cut into ore deposits. It's really a great city with a fascinating history, and definitely deserves its its top 5 spot on this best of list. The third best city in Arizona is none other than Gilbert. Population 273,000 people. And man, do I like this city. It might be kind of an odd pit to be so passionate about, but it goes to show just how much first impressions matter. And when I visited Gilbert back in January 2024, Gilbert really impressed me. I touched on this in previous videos, just barely, but I want to say that Gilbert's weekly Saturday farmers market is hands down one of the best farmers markets I've ever been to. The offerings are diverse and abundant, with over 100 local businesses serving up pretty much anything you can dream up. This and most of what makes Gilbert great can be found downtown. The main reason why Gilbert's downtown is so special, of course, has to do with some more than competent foresight of the city council. Back in 2018, Gilbert's town council adopted a new redevelopment plan for the downtown heritage district. This plan provided an accompanying master plan which builds upon the foundation established by the community and provides new insights that enhance the district's goals and policies and fosters coordinated efforts between the public and private sector in the continued redevelopment of the Gilbert Heritage District. The city government even has a quite unique tool online that lets you know what's being developed, along with a detailed description of the status of each project, and even more things that you can explore. I love when a city government is this transparent with its residents. It's not something you see organized too often. Gilbert's Heritage District redevelopment has been a huge success, and that's putting it lightly. The city has concentrated so many great businesses within the HD and continues to densify with office buildings, multifamily housing units, and even green spaces and parks, with Veterans Park, Water Tower Plaza, and the Western Powerline Trail. The downtown itself is extremely walkable as well, and always is full of people day or night. The businesses themselves are beautiful too, and I'm not sure if there's any official literature rule on this, but all of the businesses showcase like a neon retro theme to them, which ties the spaces together really beautifully. I especially like the adaptive reuse going on as well. With the city not showing any signs of slowing down, Gilbert is only going to get better from here, and it's already in the top 3 in Arizona. Gilbert is healthy, thriving, and it's number 3 on this top 10 list. Scottsdale is number 2 on this best of list, and it has a population of 242,000 people, which is honestly lower than I expected. The reason is because of the sheer amount of things that this city has that punch well above its weight compared to similarly sized Sunbelt cities. Wow. That's a tongue twister. First off, Scottsdale is a haven for art lovers and cultural enthusiasts. The city is home to an impressive array of museums and art galleries, with the renowned Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Art standing out, and my personal favorite, Scottsdale Museum of the West. As far as the city's outdoor amenities, McDowell Sonoran Preserve provides hiking and biking trails with breathtaking desert landscapes, and I can't exclude the various parks, lakes, and rivers that make up one kind of main artery of scenic trails running through the city. McCormick Stillman Railroad Park is a fun one too, complete with a miniature train rides, jungle gyms, and a 10,000 square foot model railroad display. The city was once also home to the legendary architect Frank Lloyd Wright and his winter home and studio Taliesin West, where he spent time from 1937 until his death in 1959. Scottsdale's urban fabric is surely a testament to thoughtful city planning. The Old Town Scottsdale district is a perfect blend of historic charm and modern amenities. The well-preserved architecture, along with the pedestrian-friendly streets, creates an inviting atmosphere for locals and visitors alike. And although there's no light rail access, the city is seeing more density and development around the downtown and Old Town shopping and dining districts, which has been great for everyone all around. The Scottsdale waterfront offers a charming mix of boutiques, shops, dining. Scottsdale's food scene is a serious factor in its ranking here. The city's culinary landscape spans from trendy eateries in the arts district to charming cafes in Old Town. And having had some incredible meals there in my most recent visit, I must say, Scottsdale is the place to be in Arizona for highly rated restaurants of all tastes. Furthermore, the city hosts a myriad of events and festivals throughout the year, celebrating everything from art and culture and food, and even wine. The Scottsdale Culinary Festival and the Scottsdale Arts Festival are just a couple of examples that showcase the city's vibrant community spirit. Scottsdale's winning combination of cultural richness, outdoor recreation, outstanding shopping, commitment to historic preservation, and culinary excellence make it a standout city in Arizona. Thus, why it lands the number 2 spot on this best of list. And finally, the best city in Arizona. You all knew it was Flagstaff all along, didn't you? At a population of 77,000 people, people, Flagstaff is a one-of-a-kind city with a one-of-a-kind vibe, with a heck of a lot to like. I visited Flagstaff in the spring, in the summer, and in the winter, and I can confirm the city is thriving in any season. It's a college town at its core, home to Northern Arizona University, but has a storied mining, railroad, and wagoneering history as well. Historic Route 66 runs right along the downtown historic district, and just north of the famous street is that historic district where you'll find the city's eclectic collection of local businesses, all housed in those beautiful 19th century brick buildings that really add to Flagstaff's charm. I can't express just how comfortable it is to take a stroll down the streets of downtown. Most roads are one way and vehicle traffic is slow and pretty low volume, except for summer maybe. But it is really just a laid back town with some great food, terrific local shopping, and charming historic architecture. You can tell the city really cares for and about its downtown. But the fun is surely spread out. And it's not just within downtown, but even across the railroad tracks. Flagstaff's up-and-coming Southside neighborhood has some great vibes, mostly in the form of awesome breweries, such as the historic Brewing Barrel and Bottle House, serving up some local and imported craft brews, delicious pub fare, and a dog-friendly patio. Highly recommend it. And let's talk about those train tracks, because living in and visiting Flagstaff means you have direct downtown Amtrak access via the Southwest Chief train that terminates in both Los Angeles and Chicago, much like Route 66 once did. Adding to the city's allure are the numerous parks dotted throughout the city limits, but even more thrilling and numerous mountain biking, hiking, and skiing opportunities to take advantage of in the mountains just north of downtown. This city is just so jam-packed with fun and interesting quirks. I mean, from the city's 19th century hilltop observatory center on the west side of town, to the Thorpe Park Sports and Recreation area right next door, to the fun and informative Museum of Northern Arizona, chronicling the Colorado Plateau from 15,000 BC to the present. Flagstaff is well deserving of the best city in Arizona moniker. So that's my ranking for the top 10 best cities in Arizona. But let me know what you think. Any city that I missed that you think deserves to be on here, or perhaps any city that I have on here that you have less than favorable opinions on, please let me know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future top 10 city rankings, and I'll see you next week on Town, City, State.